Hello and welcome to Everyone is a Designer podcast by Femola Carrot. I am Femi and I am the Carrot. In this episode, we're going to be talking about design from the UI UX perspective. To follow with us in the studio today, helping us to dissect this topic is nobody but Mobolarinwa Fakeyede. Mobolarinwa is a first degree holder in industrial design from the Federal University of Technology, Akure, FUTA. He is a product designer who identifies problems through client interviews. He collaborates with developers to help build various software solutions, particularly apps and websites. He is currently a lead product designer at Carbon, a freelance product designer at TopTall Limited, was formerly lead product designer at Max.ng, and a product designer at Symphix. So join in and let's talk about UI UX. All right, so we are in the studio, and here we have with me Fakeyede Mobolarinwa. Well, we know him as BFAC, aka BFAC. Like you heard in the introduction, Mobolarinwa is a serial products developer, serial product designer, and went to school together. And a lot of things that Bola has dipped his hands into. Bola, can you just briefly share the things you've touched before we enter the main topic of today's episode?
I am Mobolarinwa, a creative and innovative designer. I'm the lead product designer at Carbon. Design for the customer facing and the internal facing products. I think I'm in my fourth year as a product designer. And it's been an exceptional journey since I started. Before being a product designer, obviously, I studied industrial design in school, so I've been into almost all the aspects in design, from 3D designs to game development, to animations, to graphic design on its own, to drawing. Yeah, I had some drawing classes in school then. So basically, I have all these. I've taught every aspect of design, at least one way or the other. So I have ideas on every design type, from modeling to name it. So I found myself embracing user experience design as my go-to forte. Yeah,
that's a very large portfolio you have there. That's a very large portfolio. Okay, so without further ado, we're just going to jump into today's topic for today's episode. And based off on the fact that for the very first episode with Ifedayo, we spoke about what design really means, and trying to explain to a layman basically what design really means. So in today's episode is just about UI UX, like design from a UI UX perspective. So the very first question I'm about to ask here is just a simple question of what is UI UX? Like, can you just briefly explain what UI UX means? Like, what does it actually mean?
Well, yeah, like you said, UI and UX, there are two different aspects that makes it known as UI UX. For the UI, it's called user interface, and for the UX, it's called user experience. And these are crucial elements for a product to work perfectly, like it's intended to. So for UI UX, I'll start from the user experience part of it, which is like the key thing. I'll define it just the way the normal founder of user experience defined it. He said user experience encompasses all the aspects of a user's interaction with a particular company, its service, and its product. So user experience doesn't just deal about digital product. It's also about the way we interact with every product that is available in this planet, the way we interact with our systems, the way we interact with our phones, the way we interact with our slippers. So it's like the experience you have when you interact with the product. and it's like an essential for a product. Basically, user experience design is like it encompasses any or all interactions between a potential or active customer and a company and the product, basically, and it's the key for any product. So I'll also talk about user interface. User interface is like the visual aspect of a product. Sometimes some people call it visual design instead of UI, and it's the interface, is the front end part, is what user sees, the delight that users get from using a product. That's the user interface. So if I'm just to define user interface is like the visual aspect of a product. Is where you see the colors, the text, the typographies, and everything. That's where UI comes into play. It's the user interface.
Okay. Thank you for that explicit explanation, or how will I put it? For that, let me just put it that way, because I was actually about to ask you that. Okay, so you defined user experience, you defined user interface. What actually is the difference? But you stated a lot of things that have pointed the difference or differences, as the case may be, between these two terms. So, but if do you have more things to put out to us as differences between UI and UX? Because I need everybody to get this, like the layman. I need even the people that think they know. Just need everybody to get the main idea behind UI and UX. So you can just point out one or two, if not three, differences between these two terms.
Okay. Let me just give one straight example. UX design is about the overall feel of the experience of a product. While UI is all about how the product interface looks and functions. So basically, UI is like the design, the beauty of a particular interface, and user experience is how you actually interact with this particular beautiful product. So we have sites with great user experience, but not so good user interface, and we have sites with very good user interface, but with users not having great experiences. So that's why we said both of these things work together. So and major difference is experience and beauty. So we need to bring these two together and form a great experience for users. That's why we have the user UI and the UX always being called together most times. And another thing is user experience design is about identifying and solving users' problem, while user interface is about creating aesthetics for a particular product. And it's when it comes to UX, UX applies to any kind of product, and UI is basically to digital products alone, like just websites, web apps, mobile phone games. Or UX is to every product in this world that we interact with.
I think I like that last point you made, because some people will also think that, okay, so because it's UI UX and UI has to deal with mobile applications and digital products, they believe okay, UX also has to do with that. But I like the point you made. You gave a distinct point. You made a distinct point that says UI is for digital products and UX is for everything in life. I actually like that. So going forward, what's in brief outline, like can you just briefly outline the steps or processes that is involved in making a good UI? The steps, as the case may be.
The steps for creating a great user interface depends on a designer. Obviously, it depends on the method a designer wants to do, and I'll break this step into like 4 ways. Let's say I'll call one strategy the time you prototype, and time you analyze, basically. So the strategy basically is you understanding the product you want to build, and you understand the structure, the product structure, the customers you are going to be working for, because obviously you need to know the kind of customers that are going to use the product you're about to build, and also doing basic table research of what your competitors are like, and if you have users that are already using the, if you have a competitor, a very strong competitor, you have to do some basic competitor analysis and analyze your customers and do some basic user research. And doing this user research is where you find out about how your customers behave, your customer behavior, and the way they, if some of them are already using competitors, the way they interact with your competitors, and what are the high and lows of your competitors. Basically, that's where you iron out the strategy for a product. Then from there, you move into wireframing and prototyping. Wireframing basically is about you drawing out your first idea for this product. It basically can be a pencil sketch of where you are trying to outline the different screens, different interactions, the flow charts of a particular product that you've made your research on, and that's where you start wireframing. And from wireframing, you do basic testing with different users. You test your wireframes, basically you come back to the drawing board if there are things for you to change, and from that you prototype. So most designers at this prototype phase is where we come together with UI designers and UX designers, trying to create the feel and look they want for this particular app they are trying to create. So that's the period where you draw out all the possible screens, and you prototype it in the sense that it obviously looks like it's an already developed product for you to be able to test with users, and for you to be able to communicate how you want this app to be developed to developers, obviously, and also for you to be able to communicate to your stakeholders on how your app needs to look like. So basically, you do the prototyping, you also test with users, you iterate. If you have feedback from users, from stakeholders, from developers, you iterate. Then from iteration, once you've got into a stage where development has started, you can then give developers for them to develop. So within this step, it's the period where it's like the normal flowchart for a user designer, for a UX designer to design product. So for someone like me, when I'm designing, I have like a major step I follow whenever I'm designing. And this step is, I call it research, design, prototype, measure. So if I start with my research, I define my product, I empathize with the users, I design the idea, I ideate, I create my wireframes. From there, I prototype. Having I find mockups and clickable prototypes, then I measure, validate, and test with users. Then if I need to repeat, I go in that circle every time. So that's basically my design process as a designer whenever it comes to me designing digital products.
Okay, that's a very deep one. I really do fancy your process. I really do fancy your process. A lot of people don't understand that there has to be a process behind every good design. Like there has to be good research and good prototyping, good wireframing and stuff. Yeah. And they just tend to give you something and tell you, please, can you quickly do this within 2 days? Can you quickly do this within 1 day? Can you just do it tomorrow? Like, I'd be like, how is that possible? Just like telling a builder, like, can you build this house for me in 1 week? And
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so
A lot of people still need the understanding of what it takes a designer to actually go into work. Most people feel it's about the software you are using. That don't you have Photoshop? Just do this in Photoshop. You need to do this as soon as possible. But it comes to the period of you trying to think about what you're doing. You need that space in your head. You need that time for you to understand the product before you just dive into design. Because sometimes when you just dive into design, you find out that you just dive into the wrong pot. You should have done it in another way, but you've gone far, and for time for you to come back, you've wasted resources. There's no return of investment in what you've done. So those are the kind of things we try to avoid. And I hope everybody syncs with, or every designer, when they tell them to give them time sometimes.
okay, thank you very much, Mobolarinwa. Thank you for your insightful answers. So for the next point, for the next question that we have for this episode, it's where I want you to really open up to,
Okay.
and open us up to. So the question goes like, how does good and bad UI affect our experiences as individuals and professionals? How does good and bad UI? Because some people, they feel, well, you don't need to have a good design for your app or for your digital media. You just need it to meet needs and stuff. And they always forget the importance of having a very, very good design interface for your apps and digital media. So I just need you to help us identify how good and bad UI design affects our lives as individuals and professionals, even as companies, as offices, as we have today.
Okay. So, problem of bad UX. If I'm going to talk about this, I'm going to talk about this in two different phases, and that's a bad UX to the customer side and a bad UX to the company side. A company can suffer from bad UX of their products, and users can also suffer from bad UX from their products. So let me start with the company side. The company that actually developed the product that has the bad UX, they can face multiple challenges, and obviously no return on investment. So there's no ROI. You've taken your time to do a design without proper research, without proper designs, without putting your customers first. You obviously might not get anything return in the time you used to design this product. You get, so you're losing more money for designing a product out. Then two is I'll say cost in support. When a product has an awful experience, as a user, if I'm having issue trying to use a particular system, the next thing I'll do is call the customer support, get in touch with customer support. So as a company, you'll be spending more on customer support, you'll be spending more on buying phone cards for your customer support, hiring more of customer support. You will be losing a whole lot of money because you will be having lots of chunks from users trying to get in touch with your customer support. And overall, you'll be losing money in development, and that is, you need more developers to work for you, in the sense that when you've produced a bad product for users and you want to correct it, you need more hands on deck so that things faster. And that's the side of from the side of a company. And to users who are actually using the product, obviously there will be one is users will be spending more time on a particular product, in the sense that instead of me doing what I want to do on the product, I'll be spending more time trying to learn the product. And a product mainly is for me to actually flow with it, instead of me trying to look for what I want to do. So users get stuck when using a bad product, and users abandon products and you have chunk of websites abandonment, then a bad UX actually affects users in the sense that they have a negative brand perception towards a particular product. Maybe they've used it and they were not able to do what they wanted to do. Maybe they add that brought them to a particular product, mentioned some things that they will see there, but when they got there, they were unable to interact with the product the way they expected it to be. Then it will also affect the company in the sense that it will have a low search engine ranking when users are unable to use the product. Like Google mentioned around 2018 that they will start using user experience of your product to actually rank websites, and also users tend to leave your product to join your competitors if your competitors have great user experience. Obviously, I found myself in that space before where I left the product because I found out that the competitor is doing something better than they are doing. You get so it has this negative impact to users. And if I say it's a bad user experience, I skipped someone to before. I think this was around 2015 or so, or 2016. Yeah, around 2016. Anton King died because of a bad user experience in his car. He expected to have parked his car, but obviously his car was not parked. It was in neutral or reverse because of the way the GL was labeled in. I think it was a 2015 Jeep car, and he died because he thought he parked the car and he left his car and went to the gate to lock the gate. Or before he finished locking the gate, the car already, which he thought he put in park, was in neutral and had a free move and killed the young person. So user experience can do a lot of things to users, as we have seen. It has also killed the user before. So we should be careful on what we actually ship out for users to use.
Okay, so I think from the negative experiences that you've shared, people can draw out positive experiences. Like we can say, but if you can just highlight two for us, like the good side of having a very, very good user experience design. Like what can you just label for us on that, in that aspect?
Well, good user experience will create positive brand engagement with users. Obviously, users who tend to find an experience delightful we always return back. So that's to a company to give them more users, and to a user to let them have this mind of trust for a particular brand. And it's important. It tries to help users fulfill their needs, obviously. So it keeps a user loyal to you. So you are not losing customers. You are gaining more customers, and you are keeping the current customers that you have. So your churn rate is reduced. Basically, if your user experience is good, nobody's leaving your people are joining. You have more profits from the company side. You have more users that are also joining, and you attract competitors also. So if you have a competitor, and you have a better experience than your competitor, you attract your competitors' users to your app or your website or your product. So there are many positive things that users that you gain when your user experience is actually top notch.
But before we go on the bridge, before we go for our little break, I think most people don't know that there are standards to a lot of design things you see out there. There are standards, like you mentioned for the labeling of the gear system of that 20 2016 Jeep, the 2016 SUV. I think the normal standard that we have is the park, reverse, neutral drive, then 2 and 1, And if a designer doesn't want to follow this, because over the years people have this this is how it is and this is how it's working for conveniently. Before you change that kind of system, you may have to break bones, or you may have to make sure that what you're bringing to the table is better and more comfortable than what we have on the table. So probably maybe they will have sued the makers of that vehicle, because it's bad design and it killed somebody, cost somebody's life. So at this point, before we go for the break, I'll just like to notice that I think people should know that design is tied to their life. Like we have for the title of this season, for this season is titled Design is Life. I think this is the point where we have to point it out and reiterate the fact that actually design is really life. If things are not designed well, people will die. It actually practically.
Like I have a friend that says God is also a designer. For him to design beautiful people in this world.
God's the designer.
For him to understand symmetry, for him to understand all these things, he's definitely a designer. So he has designed us to fit this world perfectly.
Okay. So we're going on the bridge now. We'll be back, and when we are back, we'll attack the third and the last, but not the least, the last point of the last question of this episode. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. This is the bridge, and this is where you get to advertise all your products and services on Everyone is a Designer podcast by Femola Carrot. Our vision is to positively impact the world using multimedia to consistently engage the human mind, building a well-taught generation with a mindset that design is life and everyone is a designer. You can also stand a chance of winning one of our well-designed merchandise either by engaging this podcast with questions or contributions, or by sharing on various social media platforms. So, what are you waiting for? Start sharing now.
What does it take to make an average sandwich? Not much. 2 slices of bread, a dash of mayonnaise, maybe tomatoes, How about a great sandwich? Let's see. Ingredients: wheat bread, avocado, carrot, tomatoes, cabbage, lettuce, peanut butter, and chicken. Now that's rich and super healthy. And the best part is, it's so affordable and very available only at jmamas_cafe. Order yours now.
Welcome back from the bridge. We have Mobolarinwa here with us in the studio. Thank you again, Mobolarinwa, for joining us. Thank you again. All right, so we've answered 2 questions, like I mentioned before. We've trashed 2 things, and so this final one is the third and last question that Mobolarinwa is going to be shedding light on. And the last question on this episode is, I will need you to explain to us the importance of good UI. Like, how important is it to have good user interface? The last time we were talking about the experience that killed a man in a SUV and stuff. But this time, like, the importance of a good interface to individuals that are designers, that are non-designers, that are bankers, that are, do you understand? Just like encapsulates every aspect of humanity. How important is good UI?
Well, to put it in a simple term, I'll say user interface helps improve conversion rates for your product. Basically, it says that it can turn potential visitors to buyers. It can facilitate interaction between users and your application. So, a user interface that speaks to a potential user will actually help convert this potential user to your customer. In the sense that if I'm making products for this set of people and my interface beautifies or recognizes this set of people, and they can recognize anything they see on the platform at a glance, and they can interact with anything they see, they get converted easily. So user interface is basically helps your product to improve conversion rate. It says that, and I also put it in sense that it improve your site's ornament value by implementing good elements that are from fonts, from colors, your images, and it makes your page elegant. It makes your product an elegant product without compromising functionality or elements of the design. So user interface is a very key part of a product design, which is the first things user get in touch with before they actually experience the whole system. User sees the interface at first, and it helps to convert as soon as possible. So if I see a website and I see the landing page, I get convinced whether I should continue with this website or not. If I see a product and I see the first screen, it's the first screen that convinces me whether should I continue or should I not continue. It's the face of the brand, it's the face of the product. So it's something designers usually put in focus. Obviously, when they are trying to design, they want to make sure, okay, we are creating a great experience, but we need to create a user interface that matches this experience. That we not allow our users. We don't want to create a design that, even when the back-end interface experience is great, the front end is not pleasing to users, and it can affect the way you convert on your app, basically.
Thank you again for that insightful answer to the third question.
Yeah.
So in conclusion, I'll just need you to give us two conclusive statements, probably two or three, that will wrap up everything that we've been discussing from the beginning of this episode.
Okay. To conclude, like I say, user experience and UI design is a core feature of a product development cycle. It's one of the key starters for a great product. So once you're able to kill your user interface.
Thank you. Okay, so for the second part of this third question is just like in simple one or two words, or simple sentences.
Mm-hmm.
How long does it take to build a very good UI? Let me just put it, how long does it take to build a very good UI and UX?
Well, I can't define that. I can't define that to be okay. It's going to take 1 year to build. It's going to take 10 minutes to build. I think it's going to be depending on what you are building. It's going to depending on the elements you are using. It depends on the number of people you have in your team that are working with you. It depends on the number of interactions that you'll be having on these pages, on this app. So it depends. It depends on the team. There are lots of factors that depends on how long it takes you to design. So from the elements you are using, whether you are using vector images, the time it takes for you to draw out these vector images, the time it takes you to source for images that will fit into this your design. I can't really specify that. Okay, user design should take 1 day, should take 2 days. Although yes, we have these 5-day sprints that everybody follows. by Google, where it's basically like a 5-day sprint where you attack problems each day. You either do your basic research the first day, you try to iterate, do prototypes the second day, you try to iterate and test it in the third day, you measure the fourth day. You get there are stuff like that we call the design sprint, but still most design sprints works with little bit of the aspect of a product, not a full product that you are working on. So I can't really give this is the finish a full blown user interface for a particular product. But there are steps that once you follow the right steps, you can get to your destination as soon as possible. Your product will definitely come out well. And like I said, also the experience of every product in this world is basically your experience. It's how you interact with your product. How I interact with the chewing gum I'm going to eat is how it's definitely user experience, and we can experience this in our daily lives, not just in digital products. And I'll also say a great UI helps a product convert customers as soon as possible. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, thank you, Mobolarinwa. And conclusively, I think I'll just add the points and say that, like we've mentioned initially, design is life. If you have a product and you sell something, I think it's very imperative and it's very important for you to consider having a good UI so that your customers will have good UX and it will turn into conversions for you. So why not contact a designer? Contact Mobolarinwa. Mobolarinwa is always very available to be contacted. And Mobolarinwa, if you don't mind, just share your probably your IG handle where people can reach you, probably your email or something.
Okay.
So if they want to listen to you more, yeah.
Okay. Well, to reach me, you can just visit my website www.mobolarinwa.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's it. You've heard it, guys. www.mobolarinwa.com. All right, we've come to the end of this beautiful episode with Mobolarinwa. Again, the topic for this episode is design from a UI UX perspective, and Mobolarinwa has broken down a lot of things for us in the studio tonight. Thank you for honoring our invitation. We hope to see you soon. We hope to see you discuss on something else next time. Thank you for joining me once again. Thank you for listening to another beautiful episode of Everyone is a Designer podcast by Femola Carrot. I hope you got something from it, because I sure did get something from it. Once again, this is Femola Carrot, and our vision is to positively affect the world with multimedia to consistently engage the human mind, building a well-thought generation with a mindset that design is life and everyone is a designer. You can stand a chance of winning one of our well-designed merchandise, either by engaging this podcast with questions or contributions, or by sharing on various social media platforms. You can also check us out on our website at www.femolacarrot.design. So what are you waiting for? Start sharing, start liking, don't stop listening. See you in the next episode.